Hello, my name is Tornike Shetekauri, as you already know, and I came here with a very specific goal in mind. I want all of you, if not most of you, to understand the ins and outs, basic premise, and importance of doublespeak. And there's no better place to begin than its conception. So, in 1949, George Orwell wrote this book I'm sure you're all familiar with, 1984. In the book, one of the main philosophies of the party was doublethink, not doublespeak. There's a bunch of differences. Doublethink, as Winston Smith, the protagonist, explains, is to know and not to know, to be conscious of complete truthfulness while tearing carefully constructed lies, to hold simultaneously two opinions which cancelled out knowing them to be contradictory in nature, and so on and so forth. Basically, it means to hold two contradictory ideas and use them based on convenience, and never discrediting the other. There are many places where this shows, but there's one example where not only doublethink, but also doublespeak shine through. And it's the party's general ideas and philosophy on free time and relationships. They believe that if you strip these essential parts from human nature from a person, they are left with extra energy and passion that they have to put into something. And what better place to put it than work? Now, they had two ways of going about this at first. The first one was to buckle down, restrict the individual, not give them any free time, and not allow them to be themselves. This wouldn't work due to the Streisand effect, which is basically if you make something illegal, people want to do it more. It wouldn't work at first. It would be absolute pandemonium. So they went the smarter route. By incepting the idea that these were primal, simple things, relationships were a duty to the party, free time was wasting your time, and generally contorting these ideas to make them seem more primal and animalistic, people disliked these ideas, and later on, the party could buckle down. Although this does show doublespeak holding two ideas at the same time of importance and not importance, doublespeak also shines through, and more about doublespeak. Doublespeak itself wasn't created when the book was written. It was created a year after and was derived from doublethink. By this example, we can also see that doublespeak is generally just contorting an idea to still say the same truth, but remove some idea or context behind it, make the listener perceive it differently while saying the exact same thing. As I said, the word was created in 1950, but was popularized by William Lunst in the book Doublespeak, which he wrote in 1989. In the book, William Lunst categorized doublespeak into four main elements: euphemisms, jargon, gobbledygook or bureaucratese, inflated language, and my favorite fifth subcategory, which wasn't said in the book, the doublespeak of graphs. And let's start from the type of doublespeak which is most prevalent in politics, euphemisms. Euphemisms refer to the type of doublespeak where you change a phrase to say the same exact thing, but make the listener perceive it differently. Some simple examples is instead of dying, you can say passed away. The person did die, they passed away, moved on. It removes the pain from it a little bit. But euphemisms are not only used in ways to help you, they can be used against you. This was really prevalent in the 20th century. So prevalent, in fact, that the US Teachers Association even made a humorous award for it, called the Doublespeak Awards. This award had more than 45 recipients, but I want to highlight 3 of them. The first one is the Pentagon, for describing the nuclear bomb as a weapon that does minimal damage to casualties while most infrastructure, but we know what happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The second was given to tobacco companies, for advertising tobacco as something that was good for your health and making children buy it as well. And the third one, which really hits close, was given to Philip A. Cooney for using these euphemisms in texts on global warming to make people perceive it as less of an issue, which moved back our efforts by 5 years. The second type of doublespeak, though, isn't always doublespeak. It's only doublespeak when used at the wrong place. Jargon refers to the type of doublespeak which uses professional language in an unprofessional setting. For an example, a sponge in a US patent could be called a porous scrubbing area. But you wouldn't go up to your friends and say, hey, I got this porous scrubbing area, it's so cool. You would say, have a sponge. This type of doublespeak is most prevalent in advertisings and mostly in high-tech startup companies. Many examples of this exist, such as the Vegas Loop, Hyperlink, flying taxis, and energy vault systems. They all use difficult-to-understand language, which makes the listener sort of confused or makes them perceive it as more important than it actually is, which also works with inflated language. Pretty self-explanatory. The third type of doublespeak, gobbledygook, is in some way similar to jargon, but it has some key differences. Gobbledygook doesn't use the difficulty of words, just the sheer amount of it. It uses so many simple words, in fact, that the listener may be confused in the words in the sentence's logic and forget what you were saying exactly. One of the most controversial and, by my guess, important shows of this is in the 1970s or in the 1980s when the Challenger exploded. When the Challenger exploded, Jesse A. Moore, the head of PR and the head of PR was asked if the shuttles actually improved the performance each launch, and he answered, well, he answered something, but you know how large it was? It was 3 paragraphs. I couldn't really fit it on a single slide. It was so big. What he said in 3 paragraphs was basically that the shuttles were faster, weren't really faster, but they were more safe, reliable, and better. Of course, that's the truth. I mean, you wouldn't really sabotage yourself while flying into space, especially when you look at the space race. But saying this wouldn't be smart, as a shuttle just exploded in midair. People wouldn't believe this. So he decided to use Jargon, Gobbledygook. Although these types of doublespeak may be used individually, they are often used in conjunction. And in most cases, it's used in conjunction with the doublespeak of graphs. And the doublespeak of graphs can be summed up in this single example. We have 2 graphs. Both of them are rising. You can see that both of them are a rising graph. You can call this whatever you want. The money you got, the GDP of the country, how much money a politician is offering you if their bill passes, and so on and so forth. Basically, it's a rising number, but it's missing 2 important things. The first one is missing numbers. You do not know how much that rise is between point A and point B. And the second graph, which is a bit smaller, doesn't show scale. You do not know how much it is. You are not sure of it. And to sum it up, if you look at the entire graph, you can see that the first chart was before a recession, and the second one was after it. I took this from a crypto company. Basically, this is what politicians show you, and this is the reality. One of the most infamous examples of this is Lipitor. In the 1970s, they made this ad that basically said that Lipitor reduces heart attack risk by 36%. They were actually kind enough to give us a study about this, which showed that the difference was actually sort of like this, 1.1%. Now, of course, they had to advertise this as something that was actually good for you and that you had to buy. So they did multiple things. First of all, 36% is actually derived from taking the entire number, dividing it by the amount of groups, and so on and so forth. There's a bunch of jargon, you can say. The second part, reduces heart attack risk, would have been a lie. They would be taken to court. But they decided to be smart about it. They used euphemisms. They shortened reduces heart attack risk was shorthand for what I just said, a bunch of jargon, taking the entire percentage and dividing it by the test groups and the times it was tested, so on and so forth. This is easy to see if you look at the charts and if you analyze it. It was really easy to see their lies. But a lot of people didn't. They didn't bother. They believed their lies, and it actually was so effective, in fact, that they grossed over $2 billion of their expected revenue. Now, this is an older example, like 50 years ago, 40 years ago, but there are newer examples of this. Many knee pain companies that advertise slug as slug powder or slug juice as something that can help you don't necessarily show these graphs, but if they do make important studies, they often employ this kind of tactics. Many governments who put out really outlandish claims or outlandish ideas, such as the metro tunnels and underneath the Black Sea, often use this, so as the startup companies. Basically, what I wanted to show you through these many real-life examples, logic, and general observations, is that it's important to do your own independent research, to see lies behind everyday truths, and as William Lutz puts it, never trust doublespeak. And let's finish off with a quote by William Lutz. Doublespeak is the harsh reality, is a bumper between you and the harsh reality that many advertisers, companies, or individuals don't want us to see. Thank you.